Good afternoon and happy Friday. I found this video, so I wanted to bring it to your attention. I shared it with my in-person class last evening, so I wanted to share it with you, the online class, because as we're moving from chapter 2 to chapter 3 in here. We're moving from, let's see, I want to make sure I get it right, privacy to freedom of speech. Yep, from chapter 2 to 3. Privacy to freedom of speech. And I try and study things that are going on, current events, etc. Sometimes when you're reading in this book, you'll find examples that are from years ago, and you say, well, maybe that's not that relevant anymore. Or it's something that's going on over in Luxembourg or in Thailand or, Brazil or those sorts of things. And therefore, we, as a people, as humans, tend to say, well, that's them. And it doesn't really apply to me. So I discovered this video, and I wanted you to take a look at it because this is still ongoing. This video was posted about 3 weeks ago. This poster's name is Silicon Cowboy. Don't know anything else other than that. But this is a court case that was filed about 7 or 8 months ago in Marana District Court because it involves students at Marana High School. I mean, you can't get any closer to home than this. Some of you could have kids that attend Marana High School. So this is here, now, and today. It involves us. It involves our school districts or policies and such. But this has national implications. This is a court case that is being closely watched by a number of groups and people just for the reasons we're talking about here: privacy, freedom of speech, etc. So I'm going to stop a couple times as we're going on in here, but I want you to try and pay attention to this individual and see what it causes you to think about.
A high school student in Arizona got suspended for an email he never sent. He also didn't just not send it. He deleted it, but his school saw it anyways because they were tracking every single keystroke he made on the Chromebook they gave him. In this video, we will cover the court case happening right now and how it will decide if schools can legally do this to millions of students across the country. This student goes to Marana High School in Arizona. One morning before school, he got a bad grade on an English assignment and his mom told him to email his teacher about it. He opened up his school-issued Chromebook at home and started typing an email from his school's Gmail account. While he's writing, he makes a few jokes and then deletes them as he goes. The last one was really dumb. He essentially typed, "Give me a better grade or I will shoot up the school," and he read it out loud to his mom as a joke. He then immediately deleted it and moved on. But here's the thing. Within an hour, his mom got a call from the school principal. The principal says their surveillance software called Gaggle caught a threat from her son. They even had a screenshot of the deleted draft email. Now the mom tries to explain that it was obviously a joke. He's never been in trouble before. He has zero history of violence and he deleted it before sending. But none of that mattered because the school suspended him anyways. He was also physically at home when he wrote it, and it was before school hours even began. He never sent the email to anyone, but because he used the school Chromebook and his school Gmail account, the school is arguing they have the right to punish him. The mom said it was shocking to me and my son to realize that every keystroke that was typed and deleted was being monitored. I think a lot of parents probably don't know that. So let me break down what's actually happening here because this goes way deeper than just one kid getting suspended. Marana School District and the thousands of other schools across America are using AI surveillance programs, the main ones being Gaggle, GoGuardian, and Securely. These programs literally monitor everything that students do on school devices and school accounts. It doesn't matter if the students are at school or at home. Everything a student types is being monitored. The school's own policy says content in all students' Google assigned email messages and information found in Google Drive is monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They also say safety features are available on students' device 24 hours per day, 7 days a week, no matter the location. Now, this family is suing the school district, and this case could change everything about schools' privacy across the United States. The big legal question is, does using a school device or school account automatically make everything you do on-campus speech for that school to control? Or do your normal free speech rights still apply when you're physically off campus and outside of school hours? The school district is arguing that because the kid...
All right, one thing to point out here. You notice they said on-campus free speech. And there are, my understanding, there are many court cases, many examples that point out that speech on campus has certain guardrails. Part of it is, for example, that if a school allows certain amounts of speech, certain things to be said, that the school is somehow implicit in the communication of those things. So there are some times where a school can say that topic or that activity that's occurring is not something that we as a school condone. You can say it, you just can't say it on campus, etc. So because the school is viewed as the forum in which this occurs. So just something to think about. They're talking about on-campus free speech versus free speech everywhere else.
Use their Chromebook and their Gmail system, anything he types is automatically school property and they can monitor and punish him for it, no matter where he was or what time it is. The family and their lawyers, including the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is a major digital rights group, are saying that that's crazy. They're pointing to a Supreme Court case from 2021 called Mahoney that said schools have way less power to control what students say and do off campus. The EFF is urging the court to reject a rule where using a school device always makes your speech count as on campus. They're saying if schools can claim everything you do on these devices falls under their control, then students basically have no escape from school authority ever. And here's why you should care about this even if you're not in school anymore. First, these AI systems make tons of mistakes. They're not good at understanding context of jokes or sarcasm. In these cases, the Gaggle software couldn't tell that a kid joking with his mom wasn't an actual threat.
Speaking about the AI systems, I think if you've used AI, and I'm not going to say I know for sure, but many of you, your papers and your discussion item submissions are written beautifully, and I mean very beautifully. And remember, my policy is if you're using AI, and that includes ChatGPT, that includes Gemini, that includes Grammarly, etc., if you're using any sort of assistance to help you word your sentences correctly, you need to put that at the bottom of your statement. In other words, I think that's a great idea. Perhaps we should do something like that. What about people in other countries, etc.? I used ChatGPT to assist me in the preparation of this reply, or something like that. That is my requirement. And so far, out of both of my classes, I have a total of 2 students that are telling me in their statements that they are using AI assistance. The rest of the students appear to be typing these things at the PhD level all by themselves. So congratulations if that's what you're doing. But if you are using any sort of AI assistant, I really would like you to say I'm using an AI assistant. All right, that is my expectation. The challenge is I can't prove it. So I'm just asking you to be honest and put down that you used Grammarly, or you used ChatGPT, or you used Notebook LM or Gemini or whatever to help you with the words and the sentences, but the thought was your own. That's the most important thing in this. All right. So I'm going to continue on here, but in reference to AI, we all know that AI is imperfect. So be very, very careful when you are doing it. If you go out and look for, AI legal challenges or whatever, there have been court cases where somebody will literally go to court and pull up their AI, ChatGPT, and say, tell me all the court cases that involve, I'll just use one that I tend to watch, the right to travel, which is an interesting discussion all by itself. But the discussion about right to travel, ChatGPT actually inserts court cases that don't exist. And people have gone into court and cited these court cases, and somebody pulls out the court, the LexisNexis or whatever, and looks at it and says, that ain't a real course, or that ain't a real court case. So be very careful. Chat GPT and any of the other AI large language model tools, they do lie, they do fabricate, they don't know the difference between whether something is ethical or unethical. They don't know whether something is true or untrue. They just operate based on inputs and then what's called inference. And they infer that this is the case. And it may or may not be true. So be very, very careful with your AI usage. This example here is the school used the AI tool to punish the student regardless of whether the student actually meant to do something. It's merely what the student said, not what the student meant. And AI could not tell the difference.
According to the lawsuit, this same gaggle system has flagged and deleted student journalism projects, mistaking them for threats. It's also flagged student photography and artwork, thinking it was inappropriate when the content actually wasn't. The AI is basically terrible at its job. This also creates what researchers are calling a chilling effect. Studies show that when students know they're being watched, they change their behavior over time. About 50% of students who know about the surveillance say they don't share their true thoughts or ideas. 80% say they're more careful about what they search online. Think about what that means for learning.
And I'm going to log in here and talk to you about that for just a second. If you are constantly being monitored, your actions are different. I'll give an example. If you're in a work center and there's a camera right there watching you doing whatever you're doing, you're not going to be checking, your chat or your messenger that frequently, because there's a camera watching you and you're not supposed to be using your phone while you're at work or whatever. The same thing occurs here. And how are we going to teach people to be wise when they're not allowed to make mistakes and improve themselves from those mistakes? They're not allowed to be creative. What if somebody comes up with a great idea and says, wow, this could really change the way we use our map software, or something like that? Has tremendous implications, but it was your idea, but because you're sitting in your office says, no, we recorded you doing this. Everything you do on a paycheck is ours, so therefore it's our patent, not yours. Those sorts of things. So creativity, entrepreneurship, the ability to fail and then grow from that failure, all of those are inhibited when you know that you're being monitored by somebody who can make things difficult for you. So just something to think about as you're going on here. The chilling effect refers to people saying, oh, well, because Big Brother's watching me, I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to do what I think Big Brother approves of.
If you're too scared to search for information about mental health, politics, or anything controversial because you think the school might be judging you, you're really not free to learn and explore ideas. What I think is one of the worst parts is this whole system creates what the EFF calls a pay for privacy scheme. But if you're a family that can't afford your own laptop and you have to use the school issued Chromebook, you're stuck being monitored 24/7. So basically, rich kids get privacy and poor kids get surveillance. The lawyers in this case point out that lower income students, minorities, and students with disabilities are way more likely to use school issued technology. So this surveillance system is going to be hitting them the hardest.
Now think about that. If you're using a school issued Chromebook, you are monitored to a higher level than if you're using your home laptop using the exact same tools. The monitoring occurs on the Chromebook, not necessarily in Google Drive. So the questions being raised here are real. What if you can't afford a laptop for your student, or you yourself, you can't afford a laptop? They'll issue you one, but oh, by the way, it comes with this accelerated amount of monitoring, and therefore the capability, the risk of a higher level of penalty for what you do, simply because you couldn't afford to escape it. Think about that.
There's also this twisted incentive structure that if schools claim they have more authority to control students' speech just because they issued a device, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to keep expanding their surveillance system because it only gives them more power. So what happens if the court sides with the school? If they rule that using a school device makes everything you do on-campus speech, then millions of students across America would basically have zero privacy in their digital lives. Schools could monitor and push students for anything they type on these devices, whether it's jokes with friends, private thoughts in a draft, or searches about personal topics, even if it's at home and even if they never share it with anyone. Let's remember that the Supreme Court in the Mahoney case specifically warned against letting schools regulate all speech that a student utters during the full 24-hour day. They said students need some space away from school control. But if schools can just issue a device and suddenly claim control over everything done on it, that warning means nothing. On the flip side, if the court sides with the student, it would mean schools have to respect that off-campus is still off-campus, even if you're using their device. They'd have to actually prove there's a real threat or real disruption to school operations before punishing students for private speech at home. Here's what gets lost in all of the legal talk. This kid who made a dumb joke to his mom and immediately deleted it is now scared to use the school email. The lawsuit says he's been chilled from using it, meaning he's afraid to communicate normally because he knows Big Brother is watching. That's exactly what the Supreme Court was trying to prevent. Students are supposed to be learning and growing, and yes, sometimes making mistakes and having the freedom to delete those mistakes before anyone sees them. That's part of being human. This case is still making its way through court. The school tried to get it dismissed, but the judge said no, and the case is moving forward. That means we're going to be getting some kind of ruling on whether schools can use surveillance technology to monitor every keystroke students make, even the ones they delete, and even if they're in their homes. This isn't just about one kid in Arizona. It's about whether millions of students in America have any digital privacy at all, and whether accepting a free school laptop means they're signing their rights away. Please subscribe and let me know your
So I'm going to finish this up. This was, to me, a very eye-opening video because it's right here. I could literally I could go out and find the schedule for the next hearing that's going to be conducted in the Marana District Court and go sit and watch this. It's that close to us, people. And so be thinking about this. Again, when we're talking about privacy, when we're talking about freedom of speech, bring it down to yourself. Bring it down to your family. Bring it down to your finances. Bring it down to your education, because that's where it really matters. A lot of this is, interesting stuff. Oh, that's curious. They did that in, Kuala Lumpur. Great. Oh, they did that with the Packard motor vehicle. Great. But what about, and I'm just coming up with weird ideas, but what if it's, a prescription that you're working on? You need it to be able to sleep well at night, but something's going on where if you take that prescription because somebody doesn't like it, they're now hunting people down and trying to ensure that that particular prescription, because it's not considered a good prescription, your HR department needs to know about it or something like that. That's where privacy and freedom of speech intersect. And it's wonderful that we're in the midst of this right here in Marana High School in Northwest Tucson. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I am available every Thursday afternoon from 4:30 to 5:30 on Google Meet. I would love to have some of you come by and talk with me about this. Share what your feelings are, or ask me any questions about the course, the textbook, anything that you're doing. Also, if you feel you're starting to get a little bit behind, contact me early so that we can try and help remediate that as quickly as possible. I don't want to get to the halfway point and have you be dissatisfied with your grades that we could have fixed 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, etc. Keep track of your own grades as well. And if something doesn't look right, let me know and we'll work together so that you can be successful. Okay? Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.